Hello YouTube and welcome back to another Dare Game video. Today we're playing Mountain Blade Bannerlord and we're going to be doing the first in a series of skill guides that were requested when I did a skill overview for the game. So basically what we're going to do with these is we're going to go into the character menu here and we're going to do each one of these categories. Should be able to do it in a video, and we're going to go through each skill. We'll talk about, the one first, and then we'll go through each one, and I'll tell you if there's one that's definitively better than the other one, I'll tell you. Otherwise, I'll explain, which one I go with and why. It's, sort of a way to help you choose which skills to go with, because I know it seems like a lot of people are confused. So the first one we're going to start with is Vigor. So Vigor represents the ability to move with speed and force. It's important for melee combat. The skills that are bound to Vigor attribute are One-Handed, Two-Handed, and Polearm. So increasing the Vigor makes it easier to learn bound skills and also raise their learning limit. So that's pretty straightforward and simple. So for One-Handed, this one, of course, just all one-handed weapons. You can use them with a shield or without. Pretty simple and straightforward. So the first option you're going to get is right here, and it's going to come between Basher and Deflect. So Basher, I'll just quick read through them. It says, shield bashes now deal 50% more damage and stun your enemy for longer. Also, infantry troops take 4% less melee damage when in shield wall formations. And then you have Deflect, which is one-handed weapons you wield have their handling increased by 20%. Also, troops in the formation you're leading have their one-handed combat effectiveness as if they were one tier higher. So the reason I went with Basher here is because shield bashes are very effective, and so I like to use them in combat a lot, especially considering I do primarily use a one-handed weapon and a shield combo. And also, if you're going for that infantry sort of feel with shields, it makes sense to care about the your infantry troops taking 4% less damage. Infantry troops taking 4% less damage when in a shield wall, because that shield wall is going to be a great, formation for you. So the next choice is Strong Arms, which gives you a plus 2% swing speed, and also you get a slight boost to militia recruitment by 0.5 per day, so that's a little one. And then, to be blunt, it increases your damage with axes and maces by 5%. So the reason I went with this one here is obviously swing speed is actually one of the more important, at least in my opinion, stats when it comes to melee combat in Mountain Blade. So whenever you find one that can increase swing speed, that's a good one to go with, because especially high tier troops are going to swing so much faster than you that it's sometimes hard to land a hit. So there's that. And also with this one, I use swords more often than I use maces or axes, so it made sense to go with that one. Then we have Cavalry, so it says while mounted, your one-handed weapon damage is increased by 5%, and then you get a boost to your cavalry troops, so the formation you're leading increases their melee damage by 5%. And then you have Shield Bearer, which reduces the effect of wielding a shield on your combat movement speed, so you can move faster with a shield, and so that also applies to troops in the formation you're leading. The reason I led this one is because, generally speaking, before I get off my horse in a battle, I spend a lot of, sometimes I never get off my horse if it's out in the open field, so cavalry made sense for me. Trainer, so hit points increased by 2, also melee troops gain 5% more experience after every battle. And then Duelist, so 20% more damage while wielding a one-handed weapon without a shield. So the reason I didn't go for that one, you also get double renown for tournaments, but the reason I didn't go for this one, Duelist, is because I pretty much always use a shield when I'm using a one-handed weapon. So it makes sense to go with this one, get a slight boost to my hit points, and, your melee troops get 5% more experience. Then we have Arrow Catcher, so larger shield protection area against ranged weapons or shields. Again, I use shields, so this one made sense. And the other one says, yeah, your shield takes 20% less damage while blocking the wrong direction. So I'm pretty sure that means on your back. Also, troops in the formation you're leading have medium bonus to their shield size against range. So that one is definitely useful too. So this one I came up between them, but I figured Arrow Catcher would be more useful for me because it increases your shield protection. Then you have Strength in Numbers, increase your party limit by 15. That's another thing that's always a good skill to look out for. It's something that increases your party limit. And it also reduces garrison wages, so very useful skill there. Then you have Full Barracks, so that reduces the recruitment cost of infantry troops by 30%, also increases garrison limit in the governed settlements by 30. So again, these ones are both pretty good, but with this one I figured get a boost to your party limit and also save yourself some money. So Stand United. This one, troops in your party start with plus 8 battle morale if you're outnumbered. Also, garrison troops in governed settlements are 30% more effective in restoring town security. Security is very important in the game, and so I like that one. And obviously, if you're outnumbered, it's good to have a boost to morale because your troops are going to fight better that way. Lead by example. Troops in your party gain 5% more experience after every battle. Troops in your formation you are leading start the battle with +5 battle morale. Also useful, but not as useful. This one gives you a better morale boost and gives you that security boost, which is very important. Fleet of foot increases your combat movement speed by 5%. Again, that's going to be really useful. Being able to move that much faster on foot is going to really help. Also, infantry troops in your formation you are leading increase their movement speed. So again, you're going to make your whole formation faster that way. Then you have steel core shields. Your shields take 10% less damage. And troops in your formation you're leading take 10% again. So that one just makes your shields better. That's useful, but if you have a good shield already, it can usually take a pretty good beating. So I figured this one, getting to be able to move faster and have the people you're leading move faster is more useful than being able to take a beating. The second to last one, you have Deadly Purpose, so increased damage with one-handed weapons by 5%, also increase your party limit by 15. Again, this is another one that gives you a party limit increase, and also boosts the damage to one-handed weapons. Then the alternative is Unwavering Defense, and that one you gain 5 hit points, which can be useful, and also reduces recruitment cost of infantry troops by 30%. So again, this one just gives you that boost to your party limit, giving yourself a bigger army, and makes your one-handed weapons deal more damage. So kind of a no-brainer in my opinion. Then lastly, you don't really have a choice. You have Way of the Sword. Every skill point after 250 grants you 0.2% attack speed. So that's going to be one of those ones that you can just keep leveling up as you go, and it'll always give you more boosts. So let's move on to Two-Handed. So in Two-Handed, you can see there's a number of choices. So these ones we can click on because I didn't choose them yet. So you have Strong Grip, which gives two-handed weapons a 10% better handling, and then Wood Chopper increases your damage against shields with two-handed weapons. With this one, I prefer the handling because this one is going to be way more applicable. This will give every two-handed weapon you ever have to use, you're going to have better handling. Whereas this one really only matters if you're trying to hack through someone's shield, which to be fair happens, but Strong Grip wins. Then you have On the Edge and Head Basher. On the Edge increases your swing speed with two-handed swords by 3%, and Head Basher increases your two-handed axe and two-handed mace damage by 10%. Now, so basically you're going to go, do you want to focus on damage or do you want to go with speed? And personally for me, I'll go with speed every day. So I'm probably going to be, if I go two-handed, I'm going to be using a sword, so I'll go with On the Edge. Then we have Show of Strength or Baptized in Blood. So for Show of Strength, you increase knockdown chance by two-handed weapons by 30%. And Baptized in Blood, troops in the formation you are leading gain 5 experience for each enemy you killed. That one's useful. And this one can also be useful, but I would go with Show of Strength because, again, that's going to come to your personal skills, and being able to knock down an enemy basically means you got them. So a 30% chance of getting a kill immediately after that is not bad. So then for the next one, we have Shield Breaker, so that one's 40% more damage against shields with two-handed weapons. Now that one offsets this one, so you can, if you took them both, obviously you're doing a lot more damage, but this one we can still do that damage against shields. And the alternative is increase your damage against mounts with two-handed weapons by 50%, which can be useful, but I mean, unless you're on the ground slashing it, or I guess even on a horse slashing at other people's horses, it's not the biggest help, so I'd definitely go Shield Breaker on that one. Here we have Berserker, so increase your damage with two-handed weapons by 20% when your hit points are below 50, and Confidence increases your damage with two-handed weapons by 15% when your hit points are above 90. So the reason I go with Berserker in this one is because it's going to help you if you're ever desperate and your health is really low, plus it gives you a higher percentage. So this one starts with 15, and it's only if your hit points are above 90, so that's only for 10%, and it's only a 15% boost. This one gives you 20 and below, so when you're trying not to die, and it gives you, or I should say 50 and below, so when you're trying not to die, it gives you a 20% boost. So Berserker is going to be more useful way more often. Next, we have Spartan. That one just, it says you can deflect arrows with two-handed weapons while changing block positions. There's no choice there, so that one's a good one to pick. Then you have Terror or Hope. Your kills with two-handed weapons have 20% higher effect on enemy troops' battle morale, so this is scaring your enemy. And Hope, your kills with two-handed weapons have 30% higher effect on friendly troops. So this one is, I go with Hope. Now Terror is also very useful because scaring your enemy is very useful. Sometimes it'll lead to a total rout, but that's only a 20%. This one's a 30%, and so I'd rather have 30% higher morale on my side than 20% higher terror on their side. So I go with Hope. Reckless Charge or Thick Hides. So for Thick Hides you gain 5 hit points, which definitely can be useful, but supplemented by really good armor, it's not the most useful thing in the world. So I like to go with Reckless Charge, which gives you Well on Foot, increases your speed damage bonus with two-handed weapons by 20%. So that's a good way to go. Then you have this one here. So you got Vandal or Learning Limp or Blade Master. Sorry. And for Blade Master, it says increase your two-handed weapon damage by 10%, which is good. But two-handed weapons are already very high damage. So I'd rather take this one where it ignores 50% of your enemy's armor, which almost always equals out to be more than increasing your weapon damage because you're able to inflict a lot more damage. And then again, you have another one of these where it's as you level up, you can just keep boosting by 0.2% speed increase, and 0.5% damage increase. So that is two-handed. Let's move on to Polearm. So for Polearm, the first two don't give you an option. You have extra HP, so that just gives you a 3% hit points boost. Standard Bearer, 15% morale to troops and formations at the start of every battle. Then you get your first choice, which is Horse Killer, so you can do 70% more damage to horses, which, to be fair, I actually like to do with my polearms if I'm fighting on mounted combat. It's just a bigger target to hit, and so if you can boost some damage, 70% here is a good boost to kill your horse. That's definitely a useful perk. The alternative is a 2% combat movement speed while wielding a polearm. It can be useful, but if I'm wielding a polearm, I'm on horseback. Otherwise, it's not a good weapon unless I'm standing still. So I don't personally find that skill very useful. Then you get Lancer. Like I said, two more without a choice. So this one gives you Couch Lance damage increased by 30%. It's a good skill. Then we have Pushback. So if an enemy blocks against your polearm thrust with a shield, he'll be pushed back. So it's useful, but again, like I said, no choice for those two, so it doesn't really matter. Then we have Powerful Thrust, which gives you +2 thrust damage with polearms, or Howling Swing, which gives you +2 swing damage with polearms. I use thrust far more often with a polearm than swing. If I was using bladed polearms like a halberd or something like that meant for chopping, then I would probably go with swing. But since I only use spears and lances, generally speaking, thrust makes a lot more sense. So then we have Expert Cavalry, so that gives you +2 damage with polearms while on horseback. And Expert Infantry, so that gives you while on foot. Again, like I said, I primarily use polearms on cavalry, almost never on foot. So for me, Expert Cavalry is really the only way to go. If you're, trying to roleplay as a spearman, I guess Expert Infantry is the way to go here. Then you have Rapid Lancer, so less Couch Lance cooldown, so that just is an active skill cooldown speed boost, so that one's useful. Then we have Keep at Bay, so that pushes your opponent with a successful attack. Again, that's going to keep them farther away from you. Then you have Slaughter, so that gives you faster swings with polearms. I haven't gotten to that level yet. But that one, again, would be more for halberds and stuff. And then the final one is Tight Grip, which increases couched lance damage by 30%. So, overall, the polearm skill tree definitely has less options than one-handed or two-handed. I hope you liked this video, but in any case, thanks for watching, and have a nice day. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching another Dare to Game video. If you liked this video, please leave a like and a comment. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you like my content and would like to support this channel, consider becoming a member today for as little as $1.99 a month. It makes a huge difference. But in any case, thanks for watching, and have a nice day. I'll see you next time.